Did it make sense, by the way, that I paired Drake and Nicki Minaj?
They're on the same label.
They are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that.
Found by pretty much the same individual.
Yes, which we'll get into in a little bit.
We will?
We will.
Do you promise?
I promise.
Because I'm a little intoxicated right now. I've been drinking.
Me too. It's a good time. I like you better when you're drunk. You should be drunk all the time.
Really?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
I was going to say, I don't think most people would agree with that.
No, I like you the majority of the time, unfortunately. I say that with much hesitancy.
To clarify from our last episode, I do not equate Rayburn with Romeo Void songs or videos.
Some people might.
It just makes me laugh that your family did you that dirty.
I know. Is there no sanctity in blood anymore?
So seriously.
This bitch with a mustache.
All right, this is the last time I'm going to go down this rabbit hole.
I'm not an ugly individual, I like to think.
If you're in the audience, we are going to talk about Drake and Nicki Minaj. Stop what you're doing. If you know our co-host Rayburn here at all, go watch Never Say Never by Romeo Void. Imagine you're Rayburn and your own family hits you with some, hey, look, it's Rayburn as the lead singer. That's so fucked.
They hate me. They don't make it a secret, but they hate me.
Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts Rayburn Alexander and Shane Wyndham. Rayburn, what Billboard hit did we cover this month?
This month, we covered Boyfriend by Dove Cameron.
What did you think?
Ooh. Finally, some lady love appreciation. This officially is the bi anthem that I'm sure plenty have been asking for. Super dark and sexual. Cameron's vocals are pleasant, and I can see the Miss Steal Yo Girl appeal. This be a bop. So, let me try that again.
Have you ever watched The Warriors?
Yeah.
You know the lady who does the commentary over the top?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Take care out there, Bobbers. Like that. I look over all the time.
Nowhere to run to, baby. Be careful out there, Warriors. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay.
I'm going to let you finish.
This be a bop. So much so that it made my obsession song playlist before covering it today.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. I was ahead of the game, ahead of the curve.
So you're sitting in my spot and you're drinking. My banter bar spot, officially. Mm-hmm. Now, this new thing on the wall, the liquor in the decanters, it's a mistake.
Why?
Because I'm feeling myself.
And you're looking at them?
I don't drink that shit. I have a dark tequila, a rice liquor.
That I got you.
And a very, very good scotch. That rice liquor, by the way, we were painting in the garage. And when you expose drywall or get down to the paper, you have to put shellac on it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize was a thing. This shellac smells exactly like the Old Man.
Oh, really?
So I'm out there.
To clarify, the Old Man is the brand of the rice liquor.
Yeah, it's the rice liquor.
Smells like the Old Man.
And I'm
like, are you throwing Billy under the bus right now?
I am. I should. I did find a video of him talking with no teeth that I want to use in the banter bar at some point. Anyway.
Awesome.
Strangers here, I apologize. We will eventually get there.
No, we won't.
But yeah, it was amazing. I was getting high on fumes and it all smelled like Old Man. It was like drinking Old Man without actually.
Nice.
That sounds really wrong. Drinking Old Man.
Well, whatever you do in your spare time, that's completely up to you.
Boyfriend by Dove Cameron.
Yep. Which Dove Cameron was originally on the Disney Channel. Drop of knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that changes your perception of the song. By the way, I gave it 5 enthusiastic stars. She is a Disney Channel celebrity.
And it is a she. It sounds like a dude's name for some reason to me.
Well, it's a female singer. You listen to the song.
Yeah, I know. For those who haven't heard it.
Yes, Dove Cameron is a woman.
All right.
Or at least identifies as a woman.
Hold on to your seats because I feel like most of our Billboard coverage is just...
What?
It's just stupid.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Today or every day?
All of it. I think we had one country hit at one point that really was like, yeah.
There was what was it that not Luke Bryan. Was it Luke Bryan?
No. I don't know the name.
Okay. Well, we're talking about Dove Cameron today. What did you think about the song?
If you got a chance, take it.
Don't do this.
Until you can't.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Cody Johnson, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It was a good one.
This Boyfriend by Dove Cameron. This jazzy, gothic ditty surprised the hell out of me, leaving me immediately interested in hearing the rest of her music. The soft and smoky vocal sass was a breath of fresh air considering the samey nature of most Billboard hits we've covered lately. So it's an easy 5 stars from me and definitely an artist to watch out for. So if you're here, not only are you going to get Drake and Nicki Minaj coverage, go listen to fucking Dove Cameron.
I have a question for you before we move on, though. And we should add this to every Billboard hit.
You know we're 7 minutes into the intro.
Yeah, I don't care. We've been drinking. I should add this into every Billboard hit. Did it give you a boner?
I don't think so. I don't normally get boners while listening to music.
Okay, well, I just had to check.
Did you get a boner while listening to
it?
Okay.
I did.
Okay. I feel you.
It's a good song.
Roll the intro.
The amount of shit I say on this show. I got a boner from Dove Cameron's boyfriend. And
You like women. That's my takeaway. Drake first.
I mean, some women are very enticing. But I'm with a man.
Did you hear me, audience? We're going to talk about goddamn Drake first.
We are. Jimmy himself, which I'm going to get into.
You know what's sad is
Don't look at me that way.
I remember Degrassi. I don't remember him from the show, but I've seen plenty of the footage enough to know.
There was a summer, and I feel like I was at your house the entire summer, which I don't actually know if you were living at Grandma's then.
I was always living at Grandma's.
I don't think you were.
Sometimes just in a closet somewhere off in a...
You were under the sink. That's where you stayed. Literally, I feel like I stayed the entire summer with you guys, and I binge watched Degrassi because it was the only place that I could ever watch it. And I am one of those freak weirdos that was really into Craig and Spinner. Those are my boys.
You say Craig, all I think of is Friday.
Now,
That's
Jake Epstein played Craig on Degrassi.
Moving on to Drake's music, because that's what we're here to talk about. The first album that we covered by the fantabulous Drake, the one and only, is Thank Me Later from 2010. This was my top album.
This was my middle album.
Out of the 14 tracks, I gave 7 5s.
I gave 4 5s.
Top track was Shut It Down.
And my top track was Karaoke. Can you guess why?
Because you like karaoke?
Because it has a Weeknd cameo that's uncredited.
Oh.
The Weeknd is on that track.
You fangirl pretty hard, but every time I bring up my Weeknd albums, you seem opposed.
What Weeknd albums? What, you want to cover Starboy, After Hours, and Dawn FM?
Nope.
Okay, well then, yeah, I'm not on board.
I mean, you got me on Starboy.
Oh, well, his first album was really good, too. That was like the 50 Shades of Grey album.
That was his 4th
Okay, well then...
album? No, 5th.
So you want to cover his early works?
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
So yeah, karaoke's okay.
Uh-huh.
My other contender would have been The Resistance. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think there were 2 songs that we covered by him that was titled The Resistance.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was like a revisiting or supposed to be, I don't know.
My bottom track was CeCe's Interlude.
And my bottom track was Show Me a Good Time. It was not a good time.
Can we just talk about, before we move on, that even though Shut It Down is my top track, it also has one of my least favorite verses of all time in a song, and it's done by the artist in question, and I've referenced it continually throughout my life since it existed, the last 12 years, the Finer Than Your Fine Cousin. I actually took this into a music editor, and I cut Drake's verse out completely. And in my MP3 player, I have a version of this saved so I don't have to listen to that Drake verse.
So is it just like filled with open space?
No, it's just
the
cut.
Beats?
I'll show you. I'll show you later. It just it skips it.
Got it.
And then I think I cut some of the end off. I like it.
Wow, that is going to some extra length.
It goes away and it comes back.
Okay.
And it's okay. It's just revisiting the same thing. Anyway, my relationship with Drake is love-hate. He's a stylistic chameleon, at best in his Usher-like choruses and instrumentals, at worst in his mostly generic and ever-the-same verses, where he comes across like a poor imitation of both Kanye West and Lil Wayne. The good is good, the cringe is cringe, the sample of Aaliyah's At Your Best is awful. But I know Drake the type to look at the bright side by appreciating my fives. That's a good old reference to the Drake the type memes. For those of you old people out there on the internet, Raven's looking at me like I've lost my mind. Go ahead, Raven.
For me, the rapping style is not bad, but definitely could be improved. At times, he sounds like a mixture of Lil Wayne, The Weeknd, and Kanye. And I'm not talking about like early Kanye that I'm a fan of. I'm talking about like later, super pretentious Kanye. Great Blaze artist. He's very vibey. I might have been drinking when I wrote these.
Was that a marijuana reference, Raven?
I mean, whatever you want to do.
Gonna tell your mama to slap a hoe.
This includes collabs with Alicia Keys, Nicki Minaj, Swizz Beatz, The Dream, Kanye himself, Jay-Z, and Lil Wayne. And before we move on, to clarify, in one of my little fun fact things, yes, Drake was discovered by Lil Wayne. He signed to Lil Wayne's label, which is...
It really bugs you to say Lil, doesn't it?
I feel like I'm fake.
Little.
Did I say Lil Wayne?
Will the real Lil Wayne please stand up?
I feel like I'm not cool enough to say Lil Wayne.
Okay.
But, you know, that's just me. Anyway, so Lil Wayne obviously is his idol. Shut up, Shane. Lil. He signed to Lil Wayne's company. What is it? What is Lil Wayne's company?
I can figure this out without Joseph's phone noises.
Beep, boop, boop, boop. I'll put him in here.
My go-to is to look up Bedrock. Young Money.
Is it Young Money? Well, then, is Mystical on the same label? Lil Wayne, not Little Wayne.
What's the group, supergroup that he was in? Supergroup.
Oh, dude, so I cannot remember. When he was really young.
Stunting like your daddy. I'm the number one stunner. Oh, what?
Yeah. All I can think about from that song is the backing vocals going, yeah.
Let's just move on. I'm going to cut it.
Yep.
The next album we covered is Nothing Was the Same from 2013. This was my bottom album.
This was also my bottom album.
Out of the 13 tracks, I gave 3 5s.
I also gave 3 5s.
My top track was Hold On, We're Going Home.
My top track was From Time.
And my bottom track was 305 To My City.
Same. It's so stupid.
We agree on certain things, I guess. Slightly less predictable than his debut, with attempts at varying his cadence. This should equate to good things, but I rarely loved this effort. The beats are less like Post Malone and more like a low end of The Weeknd. The chorus work is routinely weak and repetition plagues most tracks. This felt like an artist struggling to find their identity, but I suspect the reality is that Tom McDonald of love songs sound just isn't my bag.
You had to bring Tom McDonald up.
You had this look like, oh, you just cut his heart in half.
Oh, I wouldn't be that heartless.
That's what I thought. I didn't hate Tom McDonald, to be fair.
I did. So I will not listen to anything that we covered by Tom McDonald over again. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Tom McDonald. We're here to talk about...
Was Future on this album?
Yes. I believe in the next album that we covered.
Can I go ahead and say unequivocally, Future's voice is one of my favorite voices.
In rap today?
I don't know why. I just love hearing that dude's voice.
Somehow we have managed to talk more about other artists other than the ones that we're supposed to be talking about.
I don't
today.
know if you noticed, but this guy seems to have a lot of friends in the music business.
Yes, he has tons of friends.
And that seems to count for more than maybe, I don't want to say talent, that's brutal.
His connections.
I think he's got something. Go ahead.
Okay. Kind of bland at times. I just gave Shane shit for being mean to Drake, but he's kind of bland at times. The lo-fi beats were nice when added. I'm a sucker for that chill, vibey, lo-fi backing track. Can get a little bit sexy here, but he doesn't really provide a rhyme rap style, and that's something that really bugs me and makes me feel like he's less talented because of it. It's just kind of lazy.
So here's what you're talking about. It really did take a large amount of effort to appreciate. What you're saying is he'll end a line with the same word, essentially.
Yeah.
Now the
or
word
nothing
before
at
that
all.
will rhyme with the previous line. So I can't think of an example because I've been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a little bit of attempts to appreciate. It just doesn't feel as natural as what you get from Lil Wayne or even with Kanye and some of the worst effort. Like it's tough sometimes.
But see, this touches back on what I said for the first album is I think that there is so much potential there that it's not being utilized. Like, I feel like he's doing something, but he's not doing the most. And he's kind of coasting at this point.
Trying really hard to be very nice here because I feel like women thirst after this dude.
I like Drake. I do, aside from the obviously problematic things that we're not going to get into about his personal choices. Same with Nicki Minaj. I mean, the same could be said for anybody. But I was just disappointed because I know Drake
in a wheelchair. What's wrong with you, Drake?
I know Drake has this huge following, and I know he's got a huge fan base. But I guess I was just disappointed with how commercially popular he was, and then sitting down and listening to these albums in a row, or at least these first two, and being like, yeah, it's not what I expected.
Well, I mean, something to keep in mind for what it's worth is he was on the edge of the knife ahead of like Post Malone or The Weeknd.
Yeah, that is true.
And some of his stylings did lean in that direction, much more so than those artists. He still wants to rap really bad. That's obvious. He wants to be considered a rapper.
See, and I want him to go into the direction of more of what The Weeknd is going into. I think that would be a better avenue for him. I think that keeping it sexy, keeping it dark, and slowing it down a little bit is going to be where he really thrives.
What I'm saying is that he may have engineered a spot for those artists that came after.
Yeah.
So The Weeknd, Post Malone, they may not exist without Drake's influence in the music industry.
Setting the platform for him. Yeah, and he deserves his respect. I'm not saying that he doesn't. I guess because I had never really visited all of these albums in their entirety. I expected something that it wasn't, or at least these first two albums weren't.
The last album we covered was Views from 2016. This was my middle album.
This was my top album.
Out of the 20 tracks, I gave 4 5s.
I gave 6 5s.
My top track was Fire and Desire.
Same.
Yeah.
We just gave each other the biggest look of approval, like, yeah.
See, there's this R&B spot where we hit just right. Like, I definitely flow more 90s, and yours is, this shit was recorded underneath the dirt.
What the fuck does that mean?
Give me that Al Green acoustic 1-string guitar in the backwoods.
Yeah. Okay.
Which if I'm listening to that type of shit, I want to hear Whiskey Myers, Daddy swings the hammer to the rhythm of an old song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
We find common ground. It's just our grounds are a little uneven, but it's still the same ground.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Bottom track was Controlla.
My bottom track was Child's Play.
Understandable.
Yeah.
This is the most ambitious and unique album we've heard from Drake, proof that he has more than imitation to offer. The personal and relatable relationship insights are particularly endearing from this artist. Unfortunately, most choruses don't punch, and there's a lot of material that needed more cook time. The middle sags like few albums I've ever heard, and all of this results in an LP I don't feel inclined to return to. Not bad, but not especially good either.
This has higher production value. I loved the horn and string additions. Very cinematic in a way. Still keeping it sexy while giving us hints of 70s and 80s inspiration here. But can be a little bit repetitive. And I feel repetitive because I say that frequently.
Did you spot him on the album cover?
Yeah.
It's hard to see it from far away, but it felt like I was looking at a Where's Waldo thing.
I thought he was lower on it, honestly.
No,
and then I saw him and I was like, no, he's like right there. Yeah, it's like a Where's Waldo thing. But I will say, it's probably my favorite album cover out of these three.
I don't disagree. It's very unique.
Mm-hmm. The Nothing Was the Same was decent too, because he had the Nothing Was the Same deluxe where it was like him older. So like him as a kid and then him older. So that was kind of cool.
We didn't talk about Hotline Bling, but it is the last track on this album.
It is.
And I like that quite a bit.
I do too.
Like,
people make fun of it all the time, but it's kind of a vibe.
Well, the first time I heard it, I thought, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I think it's that clicking in the back, that ding, 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 ding.
It's a really good song. It's really well done. It's very unique style. And a lot of different parts of this album have that sort of flair. They don't sound like Hotline Bling necessarily. They're just going for uniqueness. It's everything I wanted from this artist trying to come together. I just don't know that he succeeds in as many places as he wants to. And I mean, hats off, because what he hit on with the R&B success right there in the beginning with Thank Me Later.
Yeah.
I think the other album we didn't cover here from the early days is also pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly.
Don't ask me. He was more experimental with views, and I think it works in his favor.
Agreed.
He tried different sounds with this one, and yeah, I definitely think he did a lot of right things during this album that he has the potential to expand on.
Yep.
Now, I haven't heard his newest stuff because I don't think he's making that much music anymore. He's kind of just living. But if he can take what he did in Views and expand on it, like, I am a sucker for 70s, a good horn line, or like something really funky, or like that 80s kind of, what is it? Kind of like what The Weeknd did with After Hours. Like you're what would you call it? Like you're driving through the desert, and that sound that we were talking about.
What?
Okay, he's been drinking. Anyway. I want him to take the, like...
You said Desert, all I thought was Party Monster. I'm sorry. And that's Starboy, so...
Yeah. No, I wanted him to take, like, that synth sound from the 80s, like that lovey, almost Bobby Brown sort of sound of the early 90s, and then...
For me, what Views equated to musically was something more in line with Outkast's Aquemini.
Oh. Okay.
Very, very funky in spots, very unique. I just don't think that what you got on top of it, it just needed more time. It needed more work. You needed a good producer and team behind you to say, hey, I know your friends say just make as much music as you can, but this is it's not great yet. You're on to something. It's good that you're not being monotonous in as many spots. What the hell are you doing?
I don't know.
You breaking my table?
Yeah, I'm breaking it. Sorry. Yeah, I would have had him take a little bit more time, revisit his contributions a little bit more with this album.
Drake's music makes me feel like I'm high, which is a good thing.
Blaze artist, see?
But thinking unimportant thoughts.
You know what? Still a good time.
Okay.
Not everything has to be so existential and vast, man. Sometimes you just, it's a feeling.
This listen didn't blow me away, but it had a decent amount of highlights. Ultimately, I think Drake's strength lies in R&B, but his focus leans heavily toward rap. I think if he paid more attention to each hook, avoided repetition, and kept his verse flows from being monotonous, he'd be a force to be reckoned with. Not yet the artist for me, promising at times though.
Do you know how many times I think while doing this podcast that I'm feeling all these feelings and I'm thinking all these thoughts, but I can't organize them collectively? And then you'll say something and I'm like, exactly. I don't know what that is.
That's the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is what it is.
I can't formulate my thoughts. And even when I'm not drinking, I'm just like, yeah, what he said. Anyway, more about Drake.
My ego is the world's biggest balloon right now.
Well, enjoy it, because I'm sure I'll deflate it in a minute. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Drake is a Canadian local. He also holds the record for most #1 rap singles with 12.
Continue.
Try to contain your disgust. He writes most of his own songs and has even written for Jamie Foxx, Alicia Keys, and Rita Ora. He also created the term YOLO from his song The Motto. And, interesting story, and I have to tell it because Blue told it to me. Did you know that when Drake hooks up with randos and he leaves his used condom in a public place to keep himself safe so that these women won't like try to
turkey based
essentially steal a spunk, this lady went, got the condom, inserted his baby juices in herself, and had to visit the hospital because this motherfucker put hot sauce in it, and she didn't notice it, or something clear to where I guess she couldn't tell. Yeah, she had to go to the hospital because Drake is not trying to get caught up in that shit.
Just have a vasectomy, my dude.
I mean, but maybe he's got kids.
Can we talk about Jamie Foxx for a minute?
Absolutely.
Why?
Does he not make more music?
not only that, why is he not bigger
I don't know, because I think he is amazing.
at everything?
He's an amazing actor. He's an amazing musician. Like, that dude has
Dancer.
some serious soul in him.
He's
and
a triple threat, and he's beautiful.
Yes, he's so cute.
And that's how we're ending our Drake coverage.
love-
Let's take a break.
Wait, we didn't talk about Jimmy Brooks from Degrassi. That dude got shot, but he ended up walking again, so that's fine.
Oh, he did come out of the wheelchair?
Eventually.
Well, that's good to know.
He went on a journey
Spoiler
first.
alert, too late.
Good for you, Jimmy. Good for you.
Here comes the break. Sam Adams Utopias?
Dude, I can't keep track of all the shit we talk about. We talk
It's
a
the
lot.
world's most expensive beer.
No.
Well, Dogfish Head, one of the other breweries that I like quite a bit. Your dad bought their 120-minute IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong, very expensive. It's like a $10 bottle.
Yeah.
I found that they bought some Utopias casks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whiskey barrel
Oh.
that they put beer in. It's 17.2% for a beer. It costs $10 a bottle.
Why are you telling me about this expensive ass beer when you're pouring Keystone right in front?
Yeah, I know. It kind of doesn't work, does it?
I'm like, you keep hyping up this beer, but you have Keystone in a, what is that, a tall boy?
Part of me thought Joseph might want a beer, so I got him a Keystone out. And it's very low in alcohol, so it's easy to just drink. Anyway, world's most expensive beer.
Yeah.
Which it's like a wine bottle
Mm-hmm.
that costs about $400.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Adams Utopias.
Uh-huh.
So the barrels that's brewed in, this other beer that I have in the garage is from the same.
You trying to keep me here all night?
You the one said you wanted to watch Hocus Pocus 2.
We vibing? Dude, you do not want to watch Hocus Pocus 2 with me.
Do you not want to watch that movie?
I want to, but it's also... Last time you and I hung out, we hung out till almost 3 a.m, and I stayed the night. It's almost midnight.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't think you want to stay up that late.
I'll be drinking for a while. I don't know till 3 a.m. is a good idea.
Staying up till 3 a.m.? You're going to be drinking for a while? It's 11:30.
Yeah.
And you're going to still continue.
I mean, like 2. You know what I mean? 3:30. That's too late because my kids get up 6 hours from then.
Okay, I'm just telling
I'm
you.
lucky.
I know how we get when we drink. Because see, here's the thing. Everybody makes fun of us because I, just like you, and I make fun of you for it, but I'm literally the exact same person. When I drink, I will just fucking talk. And people just put us in a corner and make us talk with each other.
When I start drinking, I like to keep having a drink in my hand. I actually think of myself like that character from Old School, the Will Ferrell character.
Uh-huh.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Uh-huh.
And also when they go to the shrink and he's talking to the relationship therapist
Yeah.
about how sometimes he'll see another girl and think, I wonder what kind of panties she's got on.
Oh, that's also you?
That's also me. Hello.
Okay. All right.
Hello.
All right. Well, if you start streaking, I might have to call someone.
What was our list this month? Our song list?
Our song list this month was actually a list that you chose, which is Essential 90s R&B.
And can I just give props to myself for one of the best list topics that has ever existed?
Well, I'm not here to stroke your ego any more than you're stroking it yourself, but yes, thank you for this because I've just been listening to this playlist over and over again.
The literal only negative for me is that I don't repeat usage of songs, and I've used plenty of R&B songs from the 90s.
Yes, you have.
So it was limited. Still really fucking good.
How long was your list, might I ask?
30 songs.
30? Mine was the same.
Okay.
All right. Good.
What's your story, Rayburn?
So my choice for song of subject, whatever you want to call it, is We Gonna Take You Back by Blackstreet.
Say it right so people know what you're talking about. Most people won't have any idea what you're talking about.
What, don't leave? Okay.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me now. Whatever.
So it's We Gonna Take You Back, parentheses, don't leave, or please don't leave.
I think it's Don't Leave Me.
Don't leave me.
Even though it's Don't Leave Me Now.
Girl.
And it samples one of the best DeBarge songs.
Which one?
A Dream.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, my song is Black Streets. We gonna take you back. Parentheses. Don't leave me. I feel like I'm saying it wrong every time.
Just go ahead.
Anyway.
God damn.
I'm fucking this all up. The beginning of this song says it all. We're going to take you back, way back into time with this one. Especially since it's been over 25 years since its release. The vibe that this song puts off contains all the juiciness that 90s R&B has to offer. After all, who doesn't love the desperation of a well-harmonized 90s R&B vocal group? Also, I recently just watched Soul Food for the first time, and all I'm going to say is, if your name is Faith, I automatically don't trust you, because Faith fucked my husband. I don't have a husband.
She ain't married, y'all.
Have you seen Soul Food?
No, actually.
That's from Soul Food. Faith fucked my husband. Blue and I love to say it.
I'd ask you if it was a good movie, but
it's a good movie.
You really loved Waiting to Exhale. Am I remembering that wrong? You liked it at least?
Soul Food is better.
Okay. It's better.
It's better.
I can work with that. I went with something that's a little offbeat for myself. I mean, it makes sense in the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Giving Him Something He Can Feel by En Vogue.
Oh, that made my list too.
This song was on the very first CD my wife ever owned, which is why my list of 30 songs is capped off with the track. It's just endlessly wild to me thinking that while I spent the 90s hearing these songs in relation to other women, unbeknownst to me, there was a perfectly imperfect woman who was hearing and digging these same songs. A woman who'd eventually strike me like lightning, where our paths first crossed, then go on to be the person who brought my love for most all of these tracks full circle. While I'd never want to change how it felt to cherish those amazing ladies I knew in my youth, I also wouldn't look to change the love I've somehow held on to now for roughly half of my time on this planet. Loving that woman makes it feel like the 90s R&B scene never went a goddamn place. And if you're asking me, that's not the sort of lover you just let slip. So go hear my playlist and understand that the presence in your relationship of that slow passion at play throughout is how you know whether or not what you've got is the real thing.
I don't want to take anything away from what you just said, because yes, all the things, but I do want to tack on. Not only did your wife do that for you, Blue did that for me. He's the one that brought me into the whole Blackstreet, Usher, all of the appreciation, because his sister played it all the time. So we picked good ass people, and I will never be able to, I want to say, pay back the appreciation that I now have for like my choice of 90s R&B. My mom played it a lot, but there were still so much that I hadn't yet to discover. And I would love, after we record, to sit down and listen to each other's playlists.
I'm imagining the sheer patience that someone probably had with your young ass. Like, check this out. Listen to this Rugrats song. You,
G.
It's not what I think of as 90s R&B, but it definitely...
It falls within the realm.
It gets you there.
It's between that, well, it takes you there.
Yeah.
Take me there, wanna go there.
Okay, you really don't have to remind me of this.
Well,
what's the Aaliyah?
AJ
Are You That Somebody? That
oh my God, the baby
in the background.
That song fucking slaps, and I don't care what you say. No, but even on my playlist, I have Aaliyah's "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number," but I also have Black featuring NSYNC. Oh baby, bring it all. You know what? If you can't find something in songs like that, I don't even know why we're doing this.
My shit's much more classical, mainline 90s R&B that you make love to or you get your heart broken to.
Yeah, I have some of that in there too.
Less poppy.
I have some of that in there too. Don't worry.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I guess yours is just going to be a little more higher energy.
I was also younger when music like this was coming out, so I was drawn.
I'm beginning to understand why people don't want to listen to us when we've been drinking.
Because we just ramble.
That was a good break. Let's go talk about Nicki Minaj.
Rah.
Like a dungeon dragon.
We need to make it a rule that we can't drink when we record, because usually we're doing this shit in the morning. We are not recording in the morning, obviously.
This is fun. Joseph's not even here anymore. We normally take about 30 minutes per episode. We're going to be over an hour by the time we're done. We might even top Joseph's episode time, and I felt like we were going fairly slow through that one.
Well, he had a lot to say, and it was full of knowledge. I'm glad he was here.
Me too.
Let's talk about Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj, man. Pink Friday was the first album we covered. That's her debut release from 2010. This was my top album.
This was my middle album.
Out of the 13 tracks, I gave 11 fives.
I gave 3 5s.
My top track was Your Love.
My top track was Right Through Me.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Bottom track was Last Chance.
My bottom track was Blazin'.
The Queen of Alter Egos made one hell of an entrance. This remains one of my favorite albums in the realm of worthwhile sampling, with 10 plus samples to discover. Her style is hardcore and poppy, creating an unpredictable mixture that I've always enjoyed listening to. The chaos can be lyrically shallow at times, but wildly touching at others. A definite recommendation.
Minaj can seriously bounce between sweet and soulful vocals to abrasive rap stylings. Repetitive and rap style can be a bit lazy, comes off as the 2010s version of Lil' Kim. And if anybody knows me personally, they know that shit is not necessarily my jam.
Gobble me, swallow me,
A couple of things that I want to add before moving on to the collabs is this album had a lot of sampling. Right Through Me samples Always With Me, Always With You by Joe Satriani. Check It Out samples Video Killed the Radio Star by The Buggles. And Blazin' actually samples Don't You Forget About Me, I believe, by Tears for Fears.
Also has some really good bonus tracks on the extended edition
Deluxe
that we didn't cover.
Another thing is this is full of collabs and samples galore, like I already said. Collabs with Eminem, Rihanna, Drake, because they are both signed by Young Money Entertainment, which is Lil Wayne's label. This has will.i.am, Kanye, and Natasha Bedingfield, but she also relies a little bit too much on vocal enhancers when not needed.
The next album we covered was the Pinkprint from 2014. This was my middle album.
This is my top album.
Out of the 16 tracks, I gave 12 fives.
I gave 6 5s.
Do you hate, by the way, that the number is almost always lower? Do you feel...
No, because
good?
I hold different value in my 5s.
Okay, so it's a good thing for you. Like, yeah, that's right. He's not as discriminating in his 5s. I'm well past the validation of what your 5s are and what my 5s are. I'm making fun of you, but what I really want to see at some point is the breakdown. Like, what gets it to a 5? Yeah, because that's what I'm curious to see. Like, I have this...
It's a feeling.
It's not.
It is for me.
Okay.
It's for me.
Okay.
We have established you are the type of person that kind of analyzes a song in pieces.
We don't have to go back through all that. My question would be, does it have to be listenable from start to finish? Does it have to have a strong chorus? There's so many things.
There's something that tells me.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily fall within the parameters of it has to have this, it has to have this, it has to have this. It feels like a 5 to me. That's why mine are so few and far in between.
All right.
It has to make me feel.
This is why you asked about boners, because it's something that has to. You may not know the inner workings of what's going on, but it's pushing you toward the peak.
It has nothing. It's not a sexual thing. I joked about the boner thing, but yeah,
I'm kind of joking right now. I'm just okay. Never mind.
It makes me feel something special that I warrant 5 territory.
My top track was Get on Your Knees.
My top track was By a Heart, but I do want to mention my honorable mention which is Grand Piano.
I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom track was Four Door Aventador.
Same.
Now, I like the track. Yeah. I just don't love the track.
Okay. You didn't feel love for it?
Part of me, I'm being honest, right? I'm always trying to just be clearly Joseph here. Yeah, I had to be, as honest as possible.
Okay.
Even though it freaks me out. I don't want to hurt his feelings with regard to Alice in Chains. And luckily, that's a badass group. I didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, who I went to school with, and I don't know why. I feel this kinship. Like I need to make sure I don't say anything stupid. She was the person who put Britney Spears in our jar.
Uh-huh. Oh, God.
And I like Britney Spears okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm clearly liking Nicki Minaj quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really knew. I'm going to save it. Okay. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Much like a solid Rihanna album, this LP is 1/3 pop, 1/3 sex songs, and 1/3 rap tracks. I know it's not technically rap with Rihanna, but they're rappers on her album. You know what I mean?
I got it.
I don't think Anaconda is representative of the effort as a whole. There's a lot more here to love. Mostly it's slower and darker than Pink Friday, with moments that feel like something from an NES game. Occasionally too odd, cheesy, or repetitious. Highly memorable and listenable though. Hence my middle album.
Nicki Minaj is a talented singer. I will say that about her. I think that her talent lies there rather than the angry, gruff rapping that she does. She touches on some serious subject matter with this album. Beats are darker and sexier, less childish if you want to completely ignore the Anaconda contributions, which still got a 5 for me.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Yeah, and it samples Big Butts by Sir Mix-a-Lot. It definitely...
Say the name of that song.
Big Butts.
That's not the name of that song.
What's the name of the song?
It's not Big Butts. I know that much. I've been dreaming.
I like Big Butts.
Hang on.
Are we really going to do this?
Baby Got Back.
Baby Got Back. You're right. I love Big Butts. It samples Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot. Also, speaking of sampling, Want Some More samples Dilemma by Nelly. So there you go.
Oh. That didn't sound right at all.
Good try, though. Collabs. You're going to leave it.
The death knell. That's it right there. Good try.
Good try.
Good try. Way to go, Bubba.
So proud of you. Collabs here include Ariana Grande, Beyonce, Meek Mill, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown, Jeremiah, Drake, and so many more. This, in my opinion, seems like the real Nicki, true Nicki. I feel like she is much deeper than what she presents to the world, and you get to see past the veil a little bit here with this one.
I dig it.
I knew you could.
She's got so many alter egos that I'm never sure.
Be careful out there, babies. It's a Warriors joke.
The final album that we covered was Queen from 2018. This was my bottom album.
This was also my bottom album.
Out of the 19 tracks, I gave 8 5s.
I gave 3 5s.
Top track was Nip Tuck.
My top track was Rich Sex, but my runner-up was Majesty.
I think I'm pretty sure I've been drinking.
I be fucking, man.
I think I like
I
it.
be fucking.
Okay, well.
I be fucking.
I didn't need to know all that.
I mean, you knew that.
What you fucking pillows?
What was your bottom track? Jesus.
Inspiration's outro.
Same.
It should go without saying.
Yeah.
Even without the abundance of crunk trap beats, this is easily Nicki's most rap-forward album, of what we listened to anyway. Beyond what I loved was too much unrelatable ego and repetitive rhyming style. Hear the song Sir as a prime example. Some choruses didn't punch, and some sections were overly uncomfortable where the instrumentation is concerned. What's great is great though, and it's hard to argue with roughly 50% hits, again, from the Queen.
Well, she's swanging her lady dick with this one. Overly confident, beats are fat and nasty. Collabs also include Eminem, Labyrinth, Ariana, The Weeknd, Lil Wayne, Sway Lee, and Future. There's your Future, Shane. Swanging.
I don't think I gave the Future track a 5 here. It pissed me off because the Swally track, I'm pretty sure I did.
Is it Swally or Swaley?
I always think Swally, but it's probably Swaley.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not tuned in. I know those people when I hear them. But
I always think of The Weeknd saying, she got me doing something like Sway Lee.
Okay.
It's Sway Lee.
Okay.
And The Weeknd would know.
See, this is the problem. We have artists that just fell off the map in the realm of...
It's the song Snow Child, he says Sway Lee.
What happened to the Jason Derulos of the world?
That said their name. Jason Derulo.
Like every song started, you knew who it was.
Mike Jones. Who's that? Mike Jones. Oh, yeah, that's right.
My favorite tracks from that early 2000s era is when like the record companies or the producers would get on and just scream like, this is who I am.
Oh,
I did this.
Fucking Will.I.Am. Oh, no, this is a beat radio smash. Like the fucking Black Eyed Peas in the background. It's like this automated voice that talks about the label. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I actually don't miss that shit. So I'm happy I get an artist every now and then whose name I don't Technically, no.
Well, it makes playing the music guessing game much easier when we have the Jason Derulos or the Mike Jones.
I'm pretty sure he says his name like 3 times in the first 5 seconds of most songs. Jason Derulo.
Yeah. Jason, and it's always the same. Jason Derulo.
Maybe I'm exaggerating.
No, I really think you're not.
And I've been drinking. That's my problem because I want to think of the production. I used to scream it over everything. And there's a producer whose name is like,
Timbaland does it.
Something made this. Mike Will made this.
Who the fuck is that?
You haven't heard that?
No.
It's in so many songs at the beginning. And don't get me wrong, amazing tracks. So I tend to overlook it and just enjoy it for what it is. Just when it comes on and it's Mike Will made this. Like, oh shit. Like, I'm pretty sure Beatles by Ray Srummerd or Drummer's Ear Backwards, whatever.
Oh, what, Black Beatles?
Yeah.
Black Beatles.
What did I say?
You said Beatles.
Oh.
I got what you meant.
Did you give your... This music makes me feel like the remainder of the world's patriarchy is deservedly nearing extinction.
Ooh, wow. Hitting on some heavy subjects. Do you have anything else? Because I got some facts.
Go.
All right. She started off in the industry in a group called Hood Stars. She signed with Young Money Entertainment, which is owned by Lil Wayne. I said Lil Wayne again. Lil Wayne, same as Drake. She is not only a musician, but she is also an actress and a voice actor, contributing her voice to Steven Universe, the show. Her parents are actually gospel singers. Not sure how they feel about the Anaconda track. Someone should probably ask them. And
I love that we focus in on Anaconda, by the way. She hit the scene with like, did it on him.
Oh, yeah, I know.
If I had a dick, I would pull it out and piss on him. Like,
well, are you sure she says did it on him? Because I thought she said shit it on him. She says shit it on him.
Yeah, the name of the track is Did It
on Him. Okay. Yeah, that's why I said she's the Lil Kim of 2010s.
Go ahead.
Anyway, she's not only a musician, but she's also a Broadway star before she even became a musician. She starred in the In Case You Forgot show in 2001 on Broadway. Yeah.
I'm personally of the opinion that people spend so much energy discussing Minaj's body that her versatility and hook talent too often get overlooked. This is an artist you haven't really heard until you've sat down with the entirety of one of her LPs. She flips between the styles of Rihanna and Lil Kim like it's nothing. And she's eccentric enough that her musical future will probably always be bright. I really like this artist. I have no shame whatsoever in saying that. When Pink Friday came out, that was my jam. And I kind of fell off. Like, people joked on Anaconda and Bees in the Trap. And I know songs
Bees
like Chun-Li.
I didn't like that as much as everybody else did.
I like it, but it made a list. I remember Watch Mojo list a while back for like the worst songs of all time because
that's a little harsh.
That's what I thought too. I really appreciate this artist. I think what she's doing is groundbreaking in ways that you just don't expect, and I can't explain it more. She's not Joe Strummer from The Clash. I mean,
yeah.
But in her own way, she is, and the people who have respect for her, I completely respect. So, great artist, and clearly she won for me. Who won for you? And why are you giving me this shit-eating grin with your phone in your hand?
Shut up, Shane. It was extremely close. I walked away with a lot more appreciation for Nicki Minaj than I did previously because I kind of was an asshole and shitted on her like this entire time. Because my sister was really into the Pink Friday album.
You didn't know.
I didn't know what.
What I started off saying there, by the way, was I was surprised to find that those other albums were as good as Pink Friday.
No, I had no idea. Well, not as good as Pink. They were better, except for that Queen one. I didn't like Queen. The Pinkprint.
Pink Friday's still where it's at.
Okay,
go ahead.
Whatever you got to say. Because my sister, that Pink Friday was my sister's shit, and she used to run it in the ground. So I was just like, ugh.
Good on you, Al.
Yeah.
Allie, Alyssa,
You can call her Al. I call
Alyssa
her Al.
Dane, whatever we're going with.
All right, let's not get all up in that. But Drake ended up pulling it out by the skin of his teeth.
You just said all up in that and pulling it out within 5 seconds.
You're welcome.
You really do be fucking, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
And did you just tell me that Drake won?
Yes, barely.
That fucking wheelchair really got you, didn't it?
I mean, he's been through a lot.
For me, Nicki Minaj more than doubled his fives.
No,
she curb stomped his ass.
They were 1.5 difference, and they were like 0.5 points difference. Like, it was very, very close. So I have to give my respect to both artists. I found something that I like from both of them. And if that is my only takeaway this episode, I'll take it.
I definitely think Drake has something. I hope he continues building upon it. I think Nicki came out swinging, and she's good. Just be yourself, because it fucking works.
I'm curious to see when we cover more of their material, potentially in the future Battle of the Bands. So we'll be able to cover both of their later works. Should be interesting.
Anyway, I don't have my stuff on me again because I am a professional.
And yet he gives me shit.
And you know, Rayburn sends me 8 billion messages, so let's hope I can find what I sent you. Yeah, normally I have my iPad and I could go get it, but god damn it, it's going to go through the gifts too, and it's not going to load the old shit. Let me go get my iPad.
I feel like you're making a lot of excuses.
Normally, I have my iPad right here, and that has everything I need.
You're the one that's going to have to cut all this, so.
That's fine. A cut is easy. That's right. We will be back in a month with our next matchup. Which
is?
Callie, one of her top 10 artists she put in the jar was My Chemical Romance.
I'm very excited. Can I pick the albums?
Nope, they're already picked.
Damn it.
I have them paired up against The Used.
All right.
So the My Chemical Romance albums we'll be covering if you're following along at home and want to know your opinion ahead of time. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge from 2004. The Black Parade from 2006 and Danger Days from 2010. You're welcome. I got it right.
I'm so excited.
The Used, I went with their self-titled from 2002, In Love and Death from 2004, and Lies for the Liars from 2007. We'll see you in a month, along with a wonderful playlist. Let's say it's going to be blazing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's all we got. I got some words here that are wordy. Let me read them. That's going to do it for this week. Hit up our playlist on Spotify, visit our merch shop, share our show with your friends, come find us on social media to let us know what you think, subscribe if you want some bonus episodes. It is an option. Even our guests do it. Hello. And until next time, fill your world with music.
Be looking good, Raiders, all the way back to Coney. You hear me, babies? Good. Real good. Adios.